week goes to Jonathan Rail, archive binging on Cristen Conger's YouTube vids. Her initial explanation on why female nipples are sacred is hilarious, and I don't exactly know what you're referencing, but I'll take it. I would also like to acknowledge something a little bit different about this video, which is my Ariana Grande-esque high pone, that's short for ponytail. I'm not trying to make any political statements. I just want to let the pone speak for itself. And it says, I'm a little nervous. I'm not sure why I'm here. Wouldn't life be easier with wigs? It was a big week here on Stuff Mom Never Told You. On Monday, I kicked off with how to eat like a man. On Wednesday, I finally talked about why women pluck their eyebrows. And on Friday, it was 7 stimulating facts about the clitoris, which some of you were able to watch when it was accidentally published a couple weeks ago. Now to Ask Cristen. First of all, thanks to everybody who watched and commented on last week's Ask Cristen video, how not to compliment a fat girl. There were a lot of comments about skinny shaming slash thin shaming, and I made a whole video about that a while ago, and the link is floating somewhere around my head. If you want a more in-depth look at this whole body shaming thing, my podcast co-host Caroline and I did an entire Stuff Mom Never Told You podcast episode on it. Now onto your comments. Elena Murphy said, I think it's awesome you use the word fat. I'm sick of people saying curvy, plus size, bigger, or just plain overweight in an attempt not to offend. Whenever I hear these words used, to me it seems like an insult because in their heads, they're saying fat as an insult. No one else uses other words to describe someone who wears glasses, so why should we use other words to describe someone who's fat? Both are part of one's appearance, but only one is stigmatized. Elena, it's not the one that's astigmatized. You get it, like astigmatism? Mikey Surratt said, my friends always tell me I'm not fat in a way that makes it clear that if I were fat, it would be a terrible thing. I try to explain to them that being fat doesn't make me ugly, lazy, stupid, or anything but fat. Yes, I'm overweight, I've got wide hips and big thighs, I weigh nearly 200 pounds, and I'm beautiful. I'm also passionate and funny and overly optimistic and in love with math. I am so many things, and I refused to be ashamed of any of them. There is so much, Mikey, in that statement to love and that we can probably all learn from. Now into this week's Ask Cristen question, which is along the same theme as last week. This is from Quay William, who says, I'm a heavyset black male, and on a daily basis I can count some a-hole either saying, what up big man, or hey big guy. Fast food workers have even commented that I look like I would be happier with a large size. Am I not supposed to feel hurt by these comments because I have a penis? Like Quay, there were a lot of other guys commenting in last week's video about how the fat stigma is not something exclusive to women and girls. There were a number of studies that I was looking at in preparation for this episode. All of them were acknowledging that only in recent years, in say the mid-2000s, say 2005 onward, were researchers even starting to pay attention to and dig into, well, how does fat stigma affect men? Not just in the sense of statistics, but really understanding how it intersects with our gender constructs, with masculinity. I do think that there is a stark difference in how fat stigma is applied to men and how it's applied to women. Fat shaming directed to men can possibly be a little more subtle, such as Quay talking about being called big guy. Celebrity Jonah Hill has talked about how, as he has transitioned his career from being straight comedy into more serious stuff and lost some weight along the way, he got a lot of flack initially from people saying, you lost weight? You're not as funny anymore now, man. You're not the fat, funny guy that we used to know and love. Perhaps because of masculinity constructs, as illustrated by Quay's question of, okay, so these comments aren't supposed to hurt me because I have a penis? That might make it seem more okay for people to make jokes about big guys and fat guys and beer bellies and man boobs. It's just another brand of the fat stigma. It all ultimately roots back to the same problems of moralizing about weight regardless of health. One thing that I did not emphasize in last week's video that does need emphasizing, that is empirically validated, is fat shaming All you people who want to fat shame and who want to talk about sugary sodas and who want to talk about how amazing it is that you do yoga all the time and how other people should just do it too already and get off the couch. Fat shaming does not actually inspire people to lose weight. A lot of studies have found that stigmatizing language like that kind of outright criticism of just like pointing at someone and calling them a hippo, as some people said that they were called by their families, that doesn't cause people to lose weight. Not only reinforces that fat identity in their heads, and actually, statistically, tends to lead people to stay at the same weight or even gain weight. Confronting and uprooting fat stigma is often misinterpreted as just some kind of health free-for-all of everybody do whatever you want because health is just a construct. No, that's what gender is, silly billies. It's more about creating a healthier approach to health and body image and confidence and all the ways that we all get along. But now I've talked enough. Guys, what have been your experiences with fat stigma and other people's thoughts on how we can possibly, is it possible, uproot this kind of stuff? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, ask me your questions so I can give you a little bit of soapboxing, hopefully some answers, and maybe sometimes a little hot ponytail.